Yes, if you could continue, and then we will follow by the Q&A later when you finish your presentation.
Sure. So using these methods, the future work for 2022. So we will try on disaster management, chemical hazard. So as you can see, we want to detect the chemical, oil, gas, oxygen hazard in Thailand. For example, here at Don Mug. We can, in function of the product, we can estimate the surface of potential damage if we have an accident. And in this area, we can detect the building, the house, so we can estimate the number of people in this area. So we can planify the extraction or the mission to save the people in case of accident. So this is the first point. I forgot we are able to detect water, so we can probably detect water here and the canal here for the fire bomber, maybe to use the water to stop the fire if we have fire progression. So it could be interesting to know if we have water already close to the danger. And the road, of course, for the evacuation and all the emergency truck and everything. So this is one of the mission next year. In the same idea is to detect, but it will be, I'm not sure we can do, I'm not sure, but to detect the high voltage tower and to detect the cable. So electrical cable everywhere to estimate maybe the non-flight zone for drone and helicopter. So we can map, if we can do this, we can map the area for the CAAT, or we can, for emergency, if we have an accident somewhere, we can provide a map for UAV and helicopter flight zone. So to help, always to help the emergency or organization for policy, for example. So the idea is always the same: detect the class, and after, as I showed you before, if we can detect, we can use analyze and use model. So, by example, here we can simulate the non-fly area, estimate maybe what is it in this area. So we can do many things. It's just an idea of proposal, of course. Idea of project I would like, or it could be interesting. Drone is the future. Definitely, I think drone is definitely the future, and there are many possibilities of drone in many applications. And AI also is very interesting to help to take decision or for safety, security, etc. And one of the projects could focus on drone and AI combined. In fact, the tool, the vector, the tool, the machine, and the software, the intelligence beyond the drone. Disaster management is I think is a good topic, but there are many another topic, agriculture, security for maritime security also, by example. And we have company providing drone in Thailand. There are also companies that can design drone and manufacture drone. Flight training and flight test. My colleague Ajahn Pisak is not here. I'm sorry. He's a pilot of drone. He works with DTI also, with your colleague of DTI as pilot, and he's expert in system, more system. I'm in structure, but it's so I think drone we have, and AI we can provide and produce application, I think, for a specific mission. And the organization I would like. I think master. We talk about master and PhD before. I think it's a good idea because the time is it's easier to work with 2 or 3 years. To be honest, it's easier and the product we can deliver is better, high quality after 3 years of PhD. And we have the possibility with the French embassy to have a double degree. So, by example, especially for the Thai people, to go in France 1 year and to have the degree from the Thai university and French university. So it can be double degree. So with a 2 degree. We have good relation already with some French institute, French university. One from the aerospace defense is the Ministry of Defense. So the 2 first is the Ministry of Defense and the Ministry of Defense University for Marine, Naval, and Aerospace. And ENAC is a Civil Aviation University. It's a very famous one. And we have many institutes in France for aerospace or marine, depending on the application, of course, and the Ministry of Defense also. That could be easier for DTI. So we could build something like this. So as you can see, the project we have before, I always work with Thai government agency, university, and we have also industry. So we can also find industry in Thailand to support and to work with. Not forget industry also. So it's very important partners. And just to give you the idea of how to work. And this will complete my presentation. It was my last slide.
Okay, thank you very much for the very informative. Thank you very much. Thank you. Right, it's time for the Q&A, which we have a few questions on both composite and drone and AI. But if I may, let's begin with the questions in the AI domain. Okay. Sure. Okay. The first question: how can you ensure that the model doesn't overfit to the training dataset, and using the multiple training dataset can help to avoid this issue?
Oh yes, training is a nightmare. To be honest, training is a nightmare. We need so many iterations to find the best results. Overfitting and underfitting, we follow the standard way from the literature with the accuracy from validation and or both validation, training and validation dataset. We have the standard way, and in fact, we always match. The problem is we need to iterate. We have many iterations to find the best. So that's why I work with many student internship because we need human resource. And that's why we use, I call this engineering approach, user approach. So in fact, I don't focus so much on accuracy from AI, so 98% accuracy. In fact, I focus on the user point of view. So if the user say the results, it's enough for me, for my application, whatever the accuracy, if it's enough for the user, it's enough. Right? We don't need to do the best model if the user is satisfied, in fact. So I think this is the most important, is the mission and the user, the customer, in fact. Don't need to give more to the customer. If it's enough for the mission, it's enough for mission.
โอเคก็ครับอาจารย์ก็ตอบแล้วนะครับว่าก็คือใช้ได้ตัวความแม่นยำจากโมเดลเนี่ยก็98%แต่ก็จะเสริมด้วยความมั่นใจจากการยืนยันของ user หรือหน่วยผู้ใช้โมเดลนี้นะครับก็เอาทั้งสองมา couple กันแล้วก็น่าจะได้เป็นการยืนยันว่าโมเดลนี้ไม่ overfit นะครับจากชุดข้อมูลนะครับ right now on to the second question.
No, I have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
For the training. Well, it's to do with the uncertainty of your methodology. We are dealing with the remote sensing principles. It's to do with the objects that we cannot come into contact with them. We don't know what they really are, and we are trying to make sense of what they are. And what is the degree of uncertainty of your methodology? Have you ever considered that, and how are you gonna overcome the uncertainty problems?
You talk about this one, I think.
Yes.
Yes. It's in fact it's a user point of view. This is always I work with a user and customer point of view. So in fact, it's depend of the mission. It's always the same answer. It's depend of the mission. In fact, the mission is to detect house, and if I don't need such information, I don't need to focus on this. We lose time and energy for. The objective is not to do the best model of the world. It's just to do the model for the mission. Really, mission is the point of, and the problem is we don't have always data. So, by example, in this model, around the water, around river and water, you have the rocks, and we don't have data about this. So the model cannot predict because we don't have data. So we need to choose what is it? Is it water? Is it forest? Is it crop? So what is the mission always? So we have to choose in function of the user.
So you deal with the uncertainty by dropping them, by discarding them, because you would need information from the user side as well. If you don't have that piece of information, you will just leave it as it is, as a unclassified pixels like that.
We can leave unclassified. We can let's say we don't know what is it. We can. It's a possibility. In fact, if the customer prefer, we can say we don't touch. We don't know. Or we can also there is another way, because we use one model for each. So we have model for crops, forest. So we can give also the accuracy from crops and forest. Say, is it crops 40%? Is it forest 50%? So we can also provide more information about it's probably crops, it's probably forest, but we don't know. The accuracy is too low. So in fact, we can provide also such information.
So you got to have the equal number of classes and the models, right? If your question is the how many targets that you are interested in, so you need to develop the same equal number of the models. Is that right?
We can combine some model, but now we do one model, one class. In fact, it's easier. It's easier for the data sets and the training data set is the point.
Okay, so yeah, the data set is a universal problem for AI engineer, data science, and so on. Right. If I may move on to the second question. Have you applied the images obtained from Google Earth for your CNN model for this study?
No, it's Google Earth because I work with the intern student, so time is very short, and we use Google Earth because we have it's public data. The quality is enough for the model, for the mission, and it's also enough to prove the methodology. So, by example, the global land cover. So this means the model for EEC, we don't need high definition from Sentinel or Copernicus. We don't need this. So Google Earth is largely enough to perform everything for this. But if you want to detect, by example, I'm sorry, I need to move from the last. By example, this one, we don't need high accuracy. We just need to be able to detect the danger, the hazard, and to detect the building. And then we can use engineering approach to clean or to perform. So Google Earth, for me, it's largely enough. After, if you want to detect something very specific, come back. Sorry.
I just wonder how many sessions that we have anyway. It's come to session, I think.
So we had เราก็ได้คำตอบจากคำถามที่ผ่านมาแล้วครับอาจารย์ก็บอกว่า Google Earth ก็มีคุณภาพimage ที่พอเพียงต่อการวิเคราะห์นะครับในการใช้ตรวจจับวัตถุนะครับครับ Right. Next question. When you did the training on the CNN network on the temperature, you used you train the temperature alongside the land cover, or you do them separately?
Separately. So we have land cover to detect water, vegetation, and city. So this is CNN, and after we can apply the model, all mathematical model we want.
So you do them separately, one at a time.
First, and after we apply the temperature model.
โอเคครับสำหรับคำถามนี้นะครับก็คือเทรนทีละรอบนะครับ Right. Next question. On the slide that has the temperature measurement around the forest and building, how do you know, how do you get the measurement out of from the object that you are detecting?
Today we don't have from Thailand. We don't have data from Thailand, so we use from literature from I think I forgot which country is it, but it's a tropical country. So we try to find something close to Thailand. So we use model from literature.
I see. So that the model that can read the temperature from the object of interest.
Yes, the distribution is from literature, but the model we create after the model for this.
I see.
Maybe I add on. You just got the difference between previous and current temperature to come up with the degrees, the difference degrees, right?
Yes. We just say we have 1 or 2 degrees cooler than the original temperature. Yes.
But you don't know the exact degrees temperature during that time, right?
No, I didn't know
the difference. All right.
If we have a map with the temperature, we can use it. We can use it the data if we have the real temperature.
Now, okay. Next question. For the CNN model, what do you use as a backbone?
Backbone is mean, sorry.
I think it's I think at the network, the CNN network. Which how do you build that CNN network? What is the architecture?
We use it's a standard way from Python. There is no. I'm sorry, I don't know how to move this one. So we use in Python. This is the typical layer. No, this is R. Sorry, this is R because I code in R and my student code in Python, but it's the same thing.
Okay. I assume that you have published this paper.
Yes. You can find. There is no confidentiality on the results.
Okay. So for สำหรับท่านที่สนใจอาจจะไปหาดู paper ฉบับนี้ได้ครับ Is this paper under the same name as the presentation?
No. I can share with you. I will share.
โอเคครับเดี๋ยวอาจารย์จะแชร์ให้เดี๋ยวผมก็จะเอาไปแปะไว้ในSharePoint เหมือนเดิมนะครับ Okay, and then the final question for this AI domain. How do you prepare the data for training?
So data first, we create the image. We need to find image and create image. So this it's a very hard job. So that's why I need students. So we need to create image, to classify, to arrange image, and then when it's done, we can use standard way, 70% for training, 15% validation, and 15% for testing. But we need human resource for this. There is a way you can use also. I will show you on. Sorry, this. There is some. You can use unsupervised learning to create your data set to help you. So you can use some neural network or K-mean. So there is some mathematical function to help you to create your data set. So it's a model. In fact, it's a machine learning to create data set. So you have some interaction on this to help.
I assume that for further information we can look at the paper, published paper.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
But in fact, when you start to create your data set using artificial intelligence, you create already your model. So in fact, you have two models. So it's always the same problem.
Okay.
Yeah, it's always.
Right. Okay, I think we have come to at the end of this presentation, but เดี๋ยวพี่โตจะมีเสริมต่อใช่ไหมครับ
Yeah, I would like another question before the end of the slides, the slide before the final one with three cycles integrated.
This one.
So that on the slide you are looking for master and PhD students, right? Or you have ones?
It's easier to work with master and PhD. We have more time. Bachelor student, time is short with bachelor student, really short to do something. But we can start with bachelor. It's possible. But master PhD is the best choice. Master is good. I like master in Thailand. I think master is easier.
What about the research, collaborated research between institutions like between DTI and Burapha University? Because we currently we don't have policy to send out our researchers to do their further masters or PhDs, but we are currently working on the policy. But if there is a chance of collaboration, I mean, in terms of research project, we could start from there.
We could start. Yes, we don't. I think we don't need to wait a master or PhD. We can start before. Next year, I will have research with Budapa and a French institution, but it's not a formal one. It's just informal. So maybe we could start. We could involve DTI in this project. Could be interesting.
Okay, all right.
To initiate could be very interesting.
I would like just one last question for the disaster management. How could you get your, policymakers involved or engaged with the results from the analysis, the data analysis that you have done? How could you?
Sorry for this one. Sorry?
How could you get the policymakers like back in France to get involved in the result of you analyze data? It's very complicated matter.
Today I work from my side, so on my office, and I don't have access to Thailand policymaker. I would like to present in front of I don't know who manages this, so that's why I'm happy to present you today in front of DTI. It's a great opportunity. So yeah, no, today I don't have access to policymaker.
โอเคครับถ้าอย่างนั้นright พี่โตจะนำเสนอในส่วนของพี่โตไหมครับเดี๋ยว
หรือจะเอาไป discuss ดีกว่า
ได้ครับเอาไป discuss นะครับโอเคครับถ้าอย่างนั้นเดี๋ยวลองถาม
เป็นช่วงเวลา discuss ดีกว่าเพราะว่าของพี่นี่น่าจะอาจจะไม่จำเป็นเท่าไหร่นะหรือว่าต้องการได้ครับได้ so we have about roughly half an hour before lunch but feel free to continue beyond lunch let's hear from the audience I don't know if anyone would like to add or share any ideas ในระหว่างนี้นะครับไม่ทราบว่าผู้ที่ร่วมฟังนะครับมีข้อเสนอแนะหรืออยากจะร่วมพูดคุยกับเราไหมครับเดี๋ยวถ้ามีก็สามารถเปิดไมค์แล้วก็ร่วมแชร์ร่วมพูดคุยกันได้นะครับพี่เพิ่มครับพี่เพิ่มมีอะไรจะแนะนำน้องๆไหมครับหรือว่าท่านจากท่านอาจารย์จากบุรพาก็ได้นะครับOkay, looks like we don't have any questions from our audience. พี่เพิ่มมีนะครับโอเค
ไม่ค่อยมีเท่าไหร่ครับI have some question about the step 4 in assembly. How do you combine the model together?
This is a secret. This is a secret. This is the chef secret. But thank you very much for the question.
Confidential there. Down there.
Okay.
So excellent question. Today we assembly following the accuracy, probability accuracy recall. So we use the results from all the results from the simulation, and we combine and compare to find the best solution for each classification area.
พอช่วยคลายปริศนาได้ไหมครับพี่เพิ่มหรือว่ายัง
โอเค
ต้องขอบคุณพี่เพิ่มเลยนะครับเป็นปริศนาที่หลายคนผมว่าหลายคนคงคาใจแล้วก็สงสัย
and what is your reason to separately prediction each model instead of combine them first and then prediction at the whole one model?
Yes. We start with all one model. So one model, 5 class. But it's very difficult in terms of the model is huge, very big model, very slow. Training is very long. We need many. The density of model is huge, so we need a high computer. So I don't have high computer, and so we do one by one. It's easier, and it's easier for data set because we have one class we want and one class we don't want. So we can increase the data set like this, in fact. And the result is, if you want tomorrow, if you have one model, 5 class, If you want 6 class, you need to do again everything. So you need to redo everything. If I do one by one, I can just create a new model and new assembly. So I don't need to do everything again. So we have more flexibility.
Okay. Yes.
โอเคครับขอบคุณสำหรับคำถามนะครับที่เพิ่มครับเอาพี่โตครับเชิญพี่โตครับพี่
I have a more abstract discussion with you. We have first discussed. The first one is our getting to know each other and seeing each other. The second one is now we are engaged with one another. We're gonna have the third activity. We're gonna get married. We're gonna have something to do with one another, like collaborate. And this presentation or discussion is very informal. Do you think that we should need a formal presentation, a discussion among 3 parties? I mean, the DTI or Bulapan University and the French Embassy in Thailand, so that we can move on to the next stage of the collaboration.
From my point of view, we can do both. Informal to go faster,
Right.
and maybe formal. I see Benoit, Mr. Kun Benoit come back.
I think he's back. Yeah, I think he's with us now.
So I think French Embassy could also explain what is possible with the French institution, how to collaborate, and also the funding, how to get funding. I think French Embassy we could help to have international funding, maybe European funding. I don't know. So there are many possibilities.
Okay. Shall we invite? I think it's a good opportunity if we can invite Mr. Benoit to join us. Okay.
Yes.
Hi, Mr. Benoit. Yes.
Yes. Do you hear me all? Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you.
So, concerning the help that the French Embassy could provide about funding, we at the French Embassy operate 3 different schemes in terms of research and higher education, namely Francothai Scholarship, which is a very classic scholarship scheme for Thai national who want to conduct their curriculum in France, either a master or PhD degree. So it can be it is a scholarship for up to 3 years for PhD and up to 2 years for master. So this scholarship is operated both by the French Embassy and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in France. And the embassy here, we are in charge to collect application and to review application. So this is an internal process only based on the excellence criteria. And
question, please. May I interrupt?
Excellent.
The curriculum is all in French, right?
No, the language is not compulsory. What is interesting for us is, well, the overall scheme is made in order to provide support for Thai students who want to study in France. So the scholarship basically do cover the studies time passed in France. So that's why I said it's up to 3 years. We can imagine some scheme of co-supervising, for example, PhD for a Thai student who want to be 1 year in Thailand and 2 years in France. So we can imagine some scheme of co-founding between the two co-supervising institutions. So this is kind of very flexible. We are very we do look at very in detail the plan of the student. So we favor students with a very excellent background, very interesting scientific subject with good scientific outreach. But we do look at the collaboration and cooperation opportunity afterwards too. So in terms of co-supervising PhD, this is very interesting for us to look at that. So the language is not a criteria, basically. Well, I assume that if you choose a curriculum in English, we will expect the applicant to be able to communicate in English and to follow courses in English and to write thesis in English. But this is not compulsory to speak in French. I know that basically this is sometimes a break to application. Students are kind of afraid of the fact that they have to speak English, speak French. This is not the case. The only thing you have to be is to be Thai national, wanted to studying in France in master or PhD program, and with a good academic background. So this is the first program we have, and which seems to be interesting for you. But we have also two other schemes, namely the Young Fellowship Research Program for application from young researcher. Basically, the targeting applicants are PhD graduates who have been graduated into their PhD less than 5 years after the graduation. And this is a mobility scheme support which provide up to 6 months allowance for this plus mobility fees, etc., to support a young researcher who want to conduct a research project in a French laboratory. Again, speaking in French is not compulsory. So this scheme aimed to provide support to young researcher and to give them the opportunity to have sometimes first experience abroad, first experience with French Institute, and to evaluate the background and providing support in the field of research. What I didn't mention is this is not. We don't look at the field of research. Every field of research is taken into account. Could be hard, pure science, applied science, humanities. It can be anything. We only look at the excellency of the candidate. For this program, we are the selection process is a peer selection process, and we have a jury from the Ministry of Research in France with a college of experts who delivered their evaluation of our applicant. We support around 15 up to 20 projects of research each year. So this is the second one. The third one is PHC Siam, Partenariat Uber-Courien. This is a program operated in various countries by the French Minister of Foreign Affairs and aimed to support mobility of team researcher around one common project co-led by a French and a Thai research team. Again, this is not compulsory to speak French. The only requirement is that the project has to be co-leaded by one French team and one Thai team from one French institute and one Thai research institute. And this program do provide support for 2 years for mobility program and exchange program between teams back in France and in Thailand. So this is basically the three main support we have at the French Embassy.
The subject for the third scheme is scientific and engineering oriented, or in general, like humanity as well.
Oh, humanity as well. There aren't any kind of restriction of field of research. A very interesting thing that we had recently an impact evaluation of this program for the last 10 years, and we do acknowledge the fact that the proportion of selected subject based on their field of research match with the actual repartition of application. So it doesn't mean that we have a few, for example, very few projects in humanities, but it doesn't mean that we do make a selection on that criteria. We have a rate of selection of humanities project, which is correspond to the rate of application actually. So we are willing to receive any kind of project, any kind of researcher who want to collaborate with French and Thai cooperation. So this is not an issue. I mean, the subject, the field of research.
What about the climate change?
Well, climate change is a very important matter nowadays. So this is something that we are looking very carefully, especially because we have many researchers and research institute in France monitoring that in every kind of different aspect. I mean, it can be data science, it can be applied science, it can be monitoring, air monitoring, it can be marine litters or marine air pollution. So there is several research institutes which look at very carefully in the subject. And the French, again, it's also a side of the absolute scientific interest of that. There is a very, very, very important political aspect of that. I mean, the French government is very willing to support and to carefully look at any kind of project in that field.
How do we have access to what institutions are engaged or interested in some particular topics? Where can we have access to that data?
Well, this is something can be discussed at the institute level, you know, like when an institute, like I will say, like I don't know, but for example, recently we had some project with IFREMER, which is a research institute in marine science. Everything about data is decided by the institute. So when the institute have a collaboration with a Thai institute, everything about data and information sharing is decided at the institute level. So what we can do at the embassy is to provide support or to provide contact. Sometimes we are the focal point for Thai for Thai institution, Thai researchers to find a partner in France. So we can, and our mission is to do that, is to find a way to find the matching and the fitting collaboration between research institute in Thailand and in France, depending of the subject, depending of the methods, depending of the researchers too. Sometimes we receive a question from a Thai researcher who want to work with a specific research institute, or researcher want to work with France but don't know what institute is competent in his field of research, or because the research environment in France is kind of complicated sometimes with university, graduate school, laboratories, and research institutes. So we are here in order to help Thai researchers to identify, and to Thai research institute to identify appropriate collaborators in France.
Okay, Bernard, if we need to contact you, what is the best channel we can approach you and speak to you?
Yeah, you can contact me and my colleague Guillaume at by mail. I will maybe drop our mail address in the chat. So don't hesitate to call any. You know that we are the scientific section at the embassy, but there is many different sections who can provide support. We have Business France, which is a department in charge of making contact with companies, French companies especially. We have the cooperation section where we are working, who supervise cooperation in every field. So myself and my colleague Guillaume, we're working at the scientific and research section. So having us as focal point is also we can be your focal point at the embassy. That's what I mean. I know that your project is for hair monitoring things, but we have various services at the embassy who can be your focal point depending of the subject. So we have an economic section at the micro level. We have military section. We have we all have all kind of section to provide support in the field of cooperation. So please do not feel shy to contact us. Our job is to create a dynamism in the Franco-Thai relationship. So yeah, please do.
Excellent, excellent. And if I may ask Dr. Chamnan to share your email address with our colleague from French Embassy as well.
Yeah. Do I have to do it myself? Or okay. I'll type my email address into the chat room.
โอเคครับก็น่าจะเป็นจุดเริ่มต้นนะครับที่จะนำไปสู่ความร่วมมือในด้านวิชาการด้านวิทยาศาสตร์แล้วก็ด้านนวัตกรรมนะครับในหลายๆสาขาด้วยกันมีทั้งหมด10สาขานะครับถ้าดูจากเอกสารแล้วสำหรับตัวความร่วมมือทุนที่ไทยฟรังโกนะครับมีอยู่10สาขาด้วยกันครับright Laurent and Benoit I don't know if you guys would like to add anything at this closing stage.
Well, I don't have anything to add. Maybe on the European aspect, because Laurent, you mentioned that. At my knowledge, I think that the major research scheme in European Union is Horizon Europe. But it required very, should I say, heavy application and a very big collaboration scheme. It is not very well designed for bilateral, only bilateral. Collaboration, but if you have others scheme or project of research at the European level, it can be a channel. For that, you have in Southeast Asia what we call Euraccess, which is a platform for research in Europe. They have an office in Southeast Asia, based in Singapore and Manila, but they are the focal point for Southeast Asia for research in the European Union. I'll gladly will send you information about that at the mail address you indicated to me. Yeah, thank you, Laurent. So you can see, well, this is a platform, so you can find many things about research in Europe. Can be founding project, can be project of thesis, call for project, and things like that. So I do, yeah, encourage you to look at that. And eventually to contact the team Euraccess at in Southeast Asia to maybe find some specific scheme of funding research that I probably don't know because I work at the French Embassy, so I don't know everything about the European Union. But yeah, I encourage you to have in contact with them too.
And Laurent, anything would you like to add or summarize? I think for some reason I can't hear you.
Sorry, I'm mute. Yes. Sorry. So I would like first to thank everyone, and especially Dr. Chairman to invite me and to give me this opportunity. It was a great pleasure for me. Thank you very much again. And I hope we can work together. I will send you the publication as we talk, and I will keep inform you on the the future work on 22 with a student, and also the French embassy, because it's a French student from Toulouse. So French embassy is always in the loop for, you know, we have many students in Bangsen and Chambéry. And for the contact point in the research institute in France, I can help also to find the appropriate person and institute working on the topic you would like. Thank you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And at the final moment, maybe if I could invite Dr. Shamnan to give a closing speech on behalf of the DTI.
Yes, thank you very much, the audience, for the very precious and informative 2-hour discussions. I thank you, Dr. Laurent, for your wonderful presentations, and 2 sessions are very, very intriguing, and we hope that we could work on one of those or both of them in a very serious manner. And Mr. Benoit, the fact that I used to have a French supervisor during my PhD time, I would think that I will have this chance to work closely with you in the 3rd scheme of the research grant, and I would need the help from Dr. Laurent as well on that matter. And finally, I thank you very much for your precious and wonderful 2 hours that you share with us. Thank you very much from DTI.
Thank you very much again. Thank you
โอ
very
เค
much.
ครับ อันนี้เราก็ถึงเราก็เข้าสู่ช่วงสุดท้ายแล้วนะครับก็ขอบคุณทุกท่านนะครับที่ร่วมกับเราในวันนี้นะครับแล้วก็พบกันใหม่ในโอกาสถัดไปนะครับส่วนเอกสารเดี๋ยวจะแชร์ไว้ให้ในแชร์พอยต์สำหรับท่านที่อยู่นอกสตป.นะครับก็เดี๋ยวจะหาช่องทางในการขอรับเอกสารได้นะครับก็ right okay thank you very much for our guest today. So we have come to the end of our discussion. Hopefully this is the first step, the beginning of a future collaboration. Thank you you all. Thank you very much. Goodbye. See you next time. สวัสดีครับ 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 ขอบคุณครับ